We're live on YouTube and Facebook.
Okay. I don't know if that's
Raise your device for a better image.
Oh, okay.
So we are, welcome, I'm DJ.
I'm Steph.
We are stripping all the production value today, and we are just coming to you right from our living room. We know a lot of you are in your living rooms, missing family. So you might see our kids sneaking in and out. We wanted tonight just to be really natural. I'm gonna mess with the cameras a little bit while we just give people a minute to get on to try to make sure you can see everything.
All right. So Merry Christmas. We're happy that you can join us this evening as we are in our living room. Hopefully we are meeting you in yours today. So like DJ was saying, this is a very underproduced, nothing fancy, no graphics, kind of live stream this evening. Because we know that a lot of you are experiencing Christmas differently this year too.
Yeah, and we are glad you're here. If you don't know, you're catching somebody sharing this or something like that, and you're newer to Citywell. We are a new church coming to the Coatesville area. We exist to glorify God by multiplying disciples, and we just really love people, and we want to bless people. So our plans and our goals changed like everybody else's in 2020. The goal was to be live in person last year, and with coronavirus and happening and some other things, we decided to push back. So we'll be launching in person in 2021. But right now we're online for services, and then in person for individual ministry and outreach things. We definitely would love for you to like, comment, and share that you're watching. If you're on YouTube, make sure you go on and click subscribe so you can catch future content that we're doing. What's up, Eva? How are you doing? I'm gonna take it a step further and smile and wave at the camera. She's shaking her head no, standing right outside of you, I believe. So, all right, so we are at 5 o'clock, and what we wanted to do tonight was read from a Christmas story, but our family has loved the Jesus Storybook Bible, and if you're unfamiliar with it, it just brings amazing language to the stories.
Yeah, okay. I'm sitting here. Wow.
The King of all kings. Far away in the east, 3 clever men saw the very same star, the star that God had put in the sky when Jesus was born. They knew it was a sign a baby king had been born. They had been waiting for the star. They knew it would come. He's here, they shouted. He's here. I'm sure if you'd been there, you would have heard them laughing and dancing and singing until the sun came up. At dawn, they packed up their camels and wrapped gifts for the baby. They brought their most precious treasures of all: frankincense, gold, and myrrh. Special, sparkling, lovely, smelling, gleaming things just right for the king. The three wise men sailed. They rode their camels across endless deserts, up steep mountains, down into deep valleys, through raging rivers, over grassy plains, night and day and night, with hours that turned into days, that turned into weeks, that turned into months, and months until at least they reached Jerusalem. Jerusalem was by far the most important city for miles around, and as everyone could tell you, there was a path that's tell you that's where a palace would be, and the kings were born in palaces. So that's where they went. But, to, but they were in for a surprise. They went to see King Herod. Suddenly surely he knew where the baby was, but he didn't. In fact, he didn't like the sound of a new king. That made him cross. He didn't want anyone to be king except him. But Herod's advisors told the three wise men what was written in their books, what God had said about the baby king. So to Bethlehem, that's where you would find him. Suddenly the star they had seen in the east started moving again, showing them the way, so that the three wise men followed the star out of the big city. Along the road into the little town of Bethlehem, they followed the star through the streets of Bethlehem, out of the nice part of town, through the not so nice part of town, into the really not nice at all. Down a little dirt track until they stopped right over a little house. But wait, it wasn't a palace. There weren't any guards or servants or flags or red carpets or trumpets or anything. Did they get it wrong? Or was this what God meant? Sure enough, in a little house there, sitting on his mother's knee, they found him, the baby king. The three wise men knelt before the royal little king. They looked at, they took off their rich royal turbans and gleaming golden crowns. They bowed their noble heads to the ground. They gave him their sparkling treasures. The journey had begun so many centuries before, had led the three wise men here, to a little town, to a little house, to a little child. To the king God had promised David all those years before, but this was the new kind of king. Though he was the prince of heaven, he had become poor. Though he was the mighty God, he had become helpless, a helpless baby. This king hadn't come to be the boss, he had come to be a servant.
Great job. Thank you. I'm just gonna stay. All right, so like if you missed when we were just jumping on, we're glad you're here this evening. We decided to strip all the production value. We're streaming right from phones to YouTube over a laptop, and we're just coming to you from our living room as natural and raw as possible because we know that that's kind of what we all want this Christmas. We're tired of production and we just want to be with people. And with stripping everything and not pre-recording anything, there's going to be boo-boos and errors. Like apparently the phone rotated right before we went on live on Facebook, so we were sideways for the first few minutes, and then had to do some adjusting. And we opened up the Bible to the wrong book story. So I'm going to be speaking this evening about the shepherds, even though you just heard about the wise men. But that, did you guys practice that one?
Yeah.
Oh, oops, I don't even know what happened. But today we're going to take a few minutes, like I said, and look at the shepherds. And if you're unfamiliar, it's out of Luke 2. We're given the story of the shepherds. The angels appear and declare that Jesus is born, and then tons of angels show up and sing. And after that, the shepherds go to see Jesus. And then they go around town just sharing the story with everyone they can. And one of the things I love that the Jesus Storybook Bible brings into just telling it for children is the fact that the shepherds were not very popular, they would have been the outcasts, they would have been the forgotten, they would have been the people that society maybe looks down on. And to be honest, I think we are more like the shepherds than we realize. Because we're all trying to work to support our families, to do what we know, just like the shepherds were. But for them, the angels showed up. Tonight, but 2,000 years ago, with the message of Jesus' birth. And we have to ask, why did the angels go to the shepherds? Did you just...
You see it.
Yeah.
Now we see it.
You see it.
You have it on that page.
I'm sorry. I don't know how we messed up. Why'd the angels go to the shepherds? Maybe, could it be because of how significant society saw them? How insignificant they were in their culture? And almost everyone struggles with feeling insignificant. As you talk to people, most people struggle with that. And we want our life to matter, but we wonder if it really is, and if it even can. But that's where God stepped in for these shepherds. He came with the news of Jesus' birth, and he came to them with it first. And that's how God works. God still works like that. God chooses the insignificant to make the biggest impact. In 1 Corinthians 1:27, later Paul, the Apostle Paul, wrote, and he said, "But God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong." And this verse is specifically talking about people. God chooses people that society sees as weak. God chooses people that society seems as foolish. And he does a work to make them part of his all-star team. And if tonight you're struggling, maybe like the shepherds were on that Christmas Eve long ago, where you're feeling insignificant, you're feeling like, does my life even matter? Will it matter once I'm gone? I have good news for you. Jesus is here. He is here. And something we've noticed about the Coatesville community as we've started moving in and getting to know it and telling people we were gonna move to Coatesville, is Coatesville has a stigma. And a lot of people who've never actually spent time in the city make assumptions about the people in the city and the families in the city and the community without ever actually knowing it. And most of those assumptions are wrong. And even if you're living with the weight of knowing that, let me give you good news. Jesus is here. The God of the universe, he does not care. He doesn't care what town you're from. What he cares is that he created you, that he loves you, that he sees you as his child, and he wants you to discover joy in him. The shepherds in the story, they went down in history, and it wasn't really because of anything special they did. Their significance came because of what God did in them. God showed up to them through the angels, and he was like, hey, you want to be the first people to meet this new king? You want to be the first? And we love firsts in our society. We love when things are first. Every time you watch a sports game, they're looking for all of the firsts. And they're like ridiculous first. This is the first time somebody did, and you're like, how do you even know that? Like, how did you get that string of different situations all? But that's because we love firsts. And we'll be like, I'm the first person in 20 years too. And like, yeah, but somebody did it before. You're not the first. We love firsts. God chose the shepherds, the insignificant, to be the first to go see this new king. Something we're passionate about at Citywell is introducing people to the king that was born on Christmas Day, to Jesus. And we love telling people that God created them for a relationship with him. From the beginning of creation, humanity was formed for a relationship with God. And individually, you were formed for a relationship with God, but there is a barrier between you and him. We call that barrier sin. And it's not some judgmental beat you down type of thing. It's because I have sin and you have sin. And Ava's sitting over here, she's got lots of sin. We all have it. And we can't be good enough. We can't earn our way back to God. A lot of people try. And unfortunately, they fail. I love the one way I heard this described is trying to make good works cover up your sin is like putting white icing on a burnt cake. It's still not going to solve the problem. And that's why God sent Jesus. That's why Christmas happened, because we couldn't get to God ourselves. So he had Jesus step in our place. He had Jesus step in as a baby that grew into a man that lived a perfect life and died on the cross so that he could take the weight of our sin and restore our relationship with God. And now, if we put our faith in him, we have that restored relationship. That life with Jesus starts now, the moment you make the decision, and lasts for all eternity. So, we also, after the shepherds met the baby Jesus, you know what they did? They ran off into the town. And they told everyone they could. Hey, guess what? Guess what? I just met. And we just are told that they told of what they shared what they had heard. But they ran off and they told everyone about this hope that had come into the world. And I want to ask you, do you personally know that hope? And if you don't, and you're like, I want a relationship with Jesus. All it takes, I would say, just text me. Text us, 610-590-8550. Just text the word Jesus to us. We'd love to start that conversation with you. But all it really takes is for you to say yes. Say, in the quiet of your heart, if the gospel makes sense, all you have to do is say, Jesus, I'm in. Yes, Jesus, in the quiet of your heart, and you're saved. But we'd love to talk with you and help you continue to make those steps. So it's 610-590-8550. You can text us to let us know that. After the angels left, the shepherds, they look at each other and go, let's go meet this baby. Let's go see him. They ran off to meet him, get to know him better. And I'd encourage you, if you're newer to your faith or just checking him out, do everything you can to press in to continue to get to know this baby. And just like the shepherds, the more you'll get to know him, the more you're going to want to share about what you saw. But the reason the shepherds became significant and had significance in their life, and we even know them today, it's because God showed up to them. They had hope through Christ, just like you can have through the gospel. And then they went out and they shared it with others. They brought hope and joy to others. People aren't remembered. They're never remembered, or almost never remembered, for the house they built, the car they drove, the job they worked. You know what they're remembered for? People are remembered for, and their significance in life comes from the way they impact other people. The shepherds impacted other people by telling of what they saw and they heard. You can impact other people also. You can bring other people joy. A lot of times as we search for significance in life, we're looking for internal fulfillment, but that only comes when we stop looking inward and turn outward and look for how we can bring joy to others. And that's when significance and joy and fulfillment really come. So tomorrow you get a shirt that you absolutely hate. You kindly let the person who gave it to you know that you're a medium, not a 2X, and that you'd never wear or whatever. But then next week you gotta go to return the shirt. You have the opportunity to bring joy to that customer service worker who is overworked, they're tired, they're struggling, and they probably had a bunch of grumpy people in line before you. Just your smile and the way you treat them can bring joy to them, and it's significant. Even more than that, a way you can bring significance is within your home tomorrow morning. If you have kids, yeah, they want presents, but you know what they want even more? And they won't articulate this. They can't say this. Even more than gifts, they want your presence. They want you physically, mentally there with them, looking at them, smiling at them, playing with them, setting up their toys. You can bring joy and significance to them and invest in them, which is an investment in the future. We can bring impacts everywhere we go. 1 Peter 4:10 says, as each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's various graces. So tonight, let me ask you, you forget the toys, forget the presents, forget the parties. How can you personally invest in the lives of the people around you this Christmas? Because that's what's going to bring you the fulfillment you've been looking for. It's through Christ and then turning outward to other people. I think this Christmas we're all feeling it. We're all feeling the weight of missing family, missing friends, events being canceled, our traditions going out the window. And it's wearing on a lot of people. It's wearing on us. And we'd be lying if we didn't say it. But the thing that consistently brings us joy is when we turn out and say, how can we serve other people? You can make that choice as well. You can either commiserate with people, or you can be the person that shows up with a smile and changes the situation for those around you. You can be that person, even on the phone, you can hear when somebody's smiling. You can make that impact in their lives this week. So how will you do that? So let me pray for you this Christmas Eve. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you and we thank you for Jesus. We thank you for the great works he has done. We thank you for the fact that he was willing to step into the world, to empty himself. You said in Philippians, to come in the form of a person to serve us. I pray that you help us find joy in you and turn outward and share that joy with others. I thank you we were able to just meet together digitally. And I pray for everyone's Christmas, even though it looks different than what we're used to, that you still bring us great joy through it. Let us bring great joy to others. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Thank you for joining us. Well, unfortunately, we weren't able to read the comments during, so we'll catch up afterwards and comment back to you guys. But have a very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
You want to say Merry Christmas?
Merry Christmas.
Do you want to try shutting it off? I don't ever like being that person trying to hit the right button to get it off. Your face is on the screen forever.
No.
She's like, no. Merry Christmas. Oop, it's the double button. It's a second click. And yes.